Hello, welcome to this edition of Geeks and Gurus. My name is Stephen Goudreault. I'm the Cloud Security Evangelist here at Gigamon. And Matt,
I'm Matt Rosenbaum, partner architect at Sumo Logic.
we're going to discuss the Better Together story with Gigamon and Sumo Logic. So, in the agenda, we're going to discuss the Gigamon's deep observability pipeline, which is data intelligence from the network using deep packet inspection with our advanced metadata intelligence, so we can discover applications and protocols that are largely in use on the network. Matt?
We're also going to talk about how Sumo Logic's vision is to help make customers' digital world faster, more reliable, and secure with partnering with Gigamon. And Sumo Logic is a SaaS analytics platform that delivers all logs from cloud and on-prem sources. Sumo Logic is partner focused with 300 out of the box integration that includes Gigamon. And we provide a one integrated platform built on AWS, serving multiple use cases in multiple clouds. Stephen, back to you.
So, what I wanted to briefly discuss was Gigamon's deployment model. We broadly have a lateral footprint within physical virtual on-prem networks, and here's kind of a diagram of that. And because we sit laterally within the network, we see a lot of network traffic and telemetry. And what we've done is we've added deep packet inspection to our network packet broker, and we're not looking for threats. We're just looking for standard applications and protocols. Now, this is something the next-gen firewall can solve for, but it traditionally sits at the perimeter. Your NDR can also potentially solve for this. So we don't replace any of those tools. We enhance them by offering visibility potentially where they don't sit, or we can redirect traffic to them. We also have a slightly different focus in that we're looking for standard applications and protocols and not threats. We extend this concept into both the public and private cloud. In the private cloud, we can tap the vSwitch or the workload or container itself, and we can see this traffic extracting the metadata to see what the containers are speaking to themselves. In the public cloud network, we can either use native cloud tools such as VPC mirroring, or in the case of Azure, where they don't have mirroring yet, we have the UCT, the Universal Cloud Tap or Universal Container Tap, that allows us to tap workloads, mirror traffic out to one or many destinations, or selective kinds of traffic to one or many, while doing the deep packet inspection on it. So now that we've kind of discussed where we sit in the network, and I feel that's kind of important because we broadly see lateral traffic in places that a lot of tools don't. And more importantly, we add the deep packet inspection to that. And we send that traffic to either our V-Series or one of our hardware appliances, where we can then do the deep traffic inspection on it. Now, what I want to be very clear is we don't take action on the data. We don't alert on the data. We don't do any of the analytics on the data. And that is something Sumo Logic does. Matt?
So Sumo Logic is easy to deploy within minutes, and you can start using the Gigamon collector. The Gigamon directly forwards and enhances the telemetry data to Sumo Logic's SaaS analytics platform without any immediate processing, such as C2C. Once the data streams comes into Sumo Logic, machine learning and advanced analytics operators can be applied to the data quickly and be filtered and analyzed, and we alert, as Stephen mentioned. The out-of-the-box dashboards for Gigamon's deep observabilities are easy and extendable to accommodate any metadata that you might be emitting from Gigamon's, tailored to your specific IT ops and security use cases.
So I'm really glad you brought some AI detection into this, because we're going to go over a series of tactical use cases that to someone like me is very easy to spot. But if you've got gigs and gigs of log data or terabytes, something like the AI could be trained to discover these things very, very quickly. So some of the use cases we're going to be discussing is the first of them is a security posture. You know, how we help detect security flaws in the network, usually just simply by providing visibility of standard apps and protocols in motion. Matt?
Then, Sumo Logic's going to take that after we detect that, and we're going to identify and remediate the security posture issues that come across, such as invalid certs, weak keys, and then quickly and efficiently be able to take action on those.
It's one thing to detect it, it's another thing to fix it, right? So it's definitely a two-part problem. Another thing is suspicious activities. So suspicious activities, when you check them, the MITRE ATT&CK framework, they have a whole dedicated sub-technique to port spoofing or standard applications and protocols being misused. And that's something that broadly, laterally is missed. If you check the MITRE ATT&CK framework non-standard port usage, I believe they're up to 51 forensics reports, where lateral traffic has been observed by at least 41 state level threat actors, and almost none of them were discovered laterally at the network level. They were all discovered at egress or by the EDR in question. With something like this, we're able to solve for the non-standard port use case. So many applications, regardless of port and protocol, can be detected. And with that information, we can feed that to Sumo Logic, which can then take action on that. Matt?
Yeah, once we get that data in, we'll be able to correlate the user activity with the suspicious traffic from unmanaged devices and alert you on the malicious activity. And if you do send this to our SIM, with the MITRE ATT&CK framework is built into our product also.
So I'm glad you brought up unmanaged devices or IoT devices. They exist on every network, and as we've seen, they more than once have been used as a focal or entry point within the network. And again, I know it's super interesting to stop like Cobalt Strike or some of the other attacks like Heartbleed, but that means the threat actor was able to navigate laterally through the network close enough to find a target to attack. And that's something that Sumo Logic can definitely stop with the aid of looking at why is my fish tank talking SSH or remote desktop, right? And that's something that could be missed with traditional logging. One of the other activities we can help solve for is rogue activities. Now, conceptually, there's not a big difference between threat actors and shadow IT, right? They're installing applications you don't know about. They're accidentally or on purpose increasing your threat landscape, vulnerability surface. So, for example, BitTorrent, crypto mining, Dropbox. Maybe you don't want Dropbox on your IoT network, but if you're looking at standard logs traditionally aren't application aware. And this is someplace that we can empower Sumo Logic to use their AI to accomplish a lot. Matt?
Yeah, we can surface contextual user and audit data tied to unsanctioned applications in usage and accelerate the remediation of those workflows really quick once we get the data in from Gigamon.
So we're going to step through three tactical use cases here where it's very much a better together story. The first one is the security posture. Now, one of the things we broadly have visibility into laterally is the TLS cipher level that's being used within the network, inbound, outbound, and between workloads. We can also tie applications to that TLS conversation. And if you look here, it looks like we have some RC4 conversations with HTTPS outbound to the internet and within Salesforce itself. Now, as you know, RC4 was deprecated, I think, over 7 years ago. Maybe this is an IoT device and that's the best you can do. I don't know. And you can put in some segmentation to protect it. Maybe this is a standard application protocol or a standard workload that should not be talking. Maybe a bad piece of software is reintroduced to the supply chain inadvertently. And this is a great way to see that from a bottom up view. And we can enrich that for Sumo Logic. And then Sumo Logic can execute on the business value. Matt?
Yeah, with Sumo Logic, we have a variety of security offerings to help customers maintain a strong security posture. Our platform allows customers to bridge the gap between the DevOps and the security teams with a unified single source of truth, being able to easily monitor of your cloud security posture. We also centralize all the logs from Gigamon and other security tools to give you a complete view of your security stack, making it easy to surface possible security flaws and accelerate the remediation of those workflows. Together, Gigamon and Sumo Logic provides our customers with the best way to monitor and alert these suspicious network behaviors.
So I'm glad that you brought up DevOps. DevOps is principally concerned with keeping their applications up and running and keeping their packages pushed out daily, monthly, hourly as needed. So they have a bias towards keeping things up and running. They're less concerned about security. And when you see DevSecOps or SecOps starts to put guardrails in, and it's a possible way to see if there's been configuration drift or if an older package was reintroduced in the CI/CD pipeline from its behavior from the bottom up. The next use case we want to discuss is suspicious activities. Now, again, we discussed earlier how threat actors and shadow IT conceptually aren't that different. In this case, we're going to look at some of the suspicious activities that we have. So we can identify some unmanaged hosts and what they're discussing. In this case, it looks like they're discussing an IoT, or the conversation they're having is an IoT protocol. Again, IoT is often something that can't be monitored with an agent, but very easy to see from the bottom up. It looks like I have some SMB version 1 file movement. SMB is a pervasive protocol that exists everywhere on networks. However, it does make you susceptible to Eternal Blue and WannaCry. Port spoofing, if we were to go back to that MITRE attack framework example, threat actors commonly use standard applications on non-standard ports. In this case, we have SSH on 443. Now, non-standard port uses isn't necessarily an indicator of compromise, but it's never an accident. And that's something that should always be followed up on, right? So traffic via a proxy server, a known state-level threat actor called Volt Typhoon often installs reverse proxies on internal machines, and that's how they pivot laterally. With our application visibility, super easy to spot. Without, you simply have logs saying there's conversations coming from into a particular workload, and it won't really raise as much alarm. And then remote desktop. I want to highlight that IoT fish tank again, just as an example that, why is it speaking of remote desktop? While remote desktop may be a valid protocol coming from an IoT device, it should definitely raise suspicion. And while we're able to see this, it's Sumo Logic that's going to help take action on some of the business value of that.
We offer a variety of AI-driven anomaly detections to help customers surface potential malicious activities, such as that fish tank that might end up as a remote desktop, and as well as automated playbooks to help speed the remediation action. The function is immensely beneficial when it comes to monitoring network traffic, since there's a high volume of connections and it can be easy for a signal to get lost in the noise. Being able to quickly and accurately identify anomalous activities can be crucial in stopping threats before they escalate into an incident, let alone a breach.
And this is one of the great examples and reasons why application metadata, or simply knowing what applications and protocols are in flight on your network, is so important. There's a lot of legitimate ones, but if there's some kind of deviation, that's very easy to pick up often with ML and AI. So Sumo Logic can take action on it. The next use case, we're going to discuss rogue activities. These are often applications unknown to the security group or IT, or they're not allowed, but they're out there anyway. It could be something as innocent as Dropbox, or it could be crypto mining. Or in this case, we also have some crypto mining and peer-to-peer action. Now, while some Linux distros do update with peer-to-peer, in this case, we can identify some of the peer-to-peer clients, and eDonkey is definitely not a sanctioned application or a Linux distro updating. So these are prime examples that would be missed in classic logging because logging traditionally is not application aware. And again, while the next-gen firewall could see that on egress, if these conversations are taking place laterally within the network, that's something we would greatly enrich for Sumo Logic. So Sumo Logic could take action on that. Matt?
When users introduce those applications, especially new applications, some of them might not be approved for use within the organization. They can inadvertently leave the company more vulnerable to attacks. The result of shadow IT is that the increased attack surface is only one of the issues because of, on the other hand, you can also experience latency and performance issues and inadvertently run up your cloud usage bill on a crypto mining environment. What we do at Sumo Logic is to analyze and alert on the telemetry data from Gigamon's AMI to pinpoint unsanctioned applications that be causing network issues and making your organization more susceptible to attacks.
Oh, wrong slide. So, a brief recap of some of the things that we have discussed. Gigamon has a broad lateral footprint, both in the virtual cloud and on-prem. We've added deep packet inspection or advanced metadata intelligence, which means we can assign applications to flows. Network logging is broadly not application aware, which it previously wasn't as big a deal, but now that we have state-level threat actors routinely using non-standard ports to evade detection, there's a whole area of vulnerability surface that I think is going missed that we can help greatly enrich solutions like Sumo Logic so they can take action on that. Matt, your closing remarks?
Just Sumo Logic's partner focused with 300 out of the box integrations, including Gigamon, which helps you get up and running very quick. And it's a one integrated platform built on AWS that we can have multi cloud use cases all in one platform, easy to use. Again, sets up in minutes with great partners such as Gigamon.
So we're both available on the AWS Marketplace. Feel free to give that a try or reach out to us. And I thank you for attending this session of Geeks and Gurus.